I have the pleasure of introducing somebody that has been a fixture in the native plant world here in Sonoma County and elsewhere. For how many years now? When did you first get involved?
Well, we're saying 50. Why not? It's a nice round number.
And he has taken every plant class at the BC possible, plus lots of others. Is a fellow of the California Native Plant Society because of all the work over the years. He authors columns in her newsletter and other newsletters, and has propagated wonderful native plant gardens, first at her original home. Right, and now he's at a new place and continues with her propagation. She oversaw. Did you start the nursery, not the nursery program, but the plant sale program?
No, I did not. But I can talk about it.
Okay, to talk about it. But Liz hails from the East Coast,
Illinois, Midwest.
Midwest. I always think of that as East. And you came out here to California when?
1971, 2 or 3. No, we're definitely 71.
Has been involved with native plants, forming the public and teaching and leading walks for many, many years. So let you take over.
All right. Can they see me?
Yes.
So yes, I moved to California in 71 and then to Sonoma County in 72. So I've been a resident of Sonoma County for a good long time. And in 75, I took a class with Steve Barnhart in field botany. And before that, 72, 73, and 74, I had been studying horticulture with Bob Kennard, who you may remember. But it was the horticulture program was kind of vestigial. It wasn't anything like it is now. There were no certificates or anything. It was just, go and learn a little bit about plants and how to grow plants, cutting seeds, all that. So anyway, then when I took field botany, I got to thinking you could probably grow some of these native plants. And so then I noticed Nancy Harrison was Steve's associate, and she at that time was the president of the local chapter of the Native Plant Society. Excuse me, I'm going to turn on the fan. I see everybody fanning themselves.
Do you mind if I ask a quick question?
I tried. But anyway, so there I was, and I became active in the Native Plant Society, and they had already had 3 plant sales in the old courthouse square. And I remember attending one of those, and they had, they had gone out and done rescue plants. It was a place that was going to be developed. They would dig up any native plants were there, grow them on, and then sell them. So it was a labor of love to do that. But on the other hand, it wasn't quite what we have now, which is plants grown in a nursery. And when I was in charge, we would grow them in our backyard. But now we have our own nursery out of the Laguna Foundation, and we are so lucky for that. And so anyway, we've moved on. 50 years is a long time. And when I was first studying botany, we used Munns, the old Munns. So I still have it. I still, I've written in it when I saw and what I saw and where. So, and then we moved on to the Jepson Manual. It was 1993, and this is the 2012 edition. And now it's all online. So that means if there's a change of names or anything, they can just do it instantly. And boy, do they change the names. Yep. Is that irritating? Yes, it is. Well, I won't digress. So anyway, I have over here a nice selection of my library of the books that I use. Like when I write the horticulture article for our newsletter, I always have a lot of books that I consult to, I remember a lot, but I want to make sure I cover everything when I'm writing something. So and here is one of the first books I ever bought. native trees and shrubs by Lenz and Doorley. And there's a manzanita called John Doorley, which turns out to be such a beautiful plant. And I just became aware of it this year looking at the Sebastopol Art Center. They have several mature plants there. It's a beautiful plant, Manzanita John Doorley. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about myself, Mary Elizabeth Parsons. I don't know anybody, if you follow me on Facebook, there's been a bit of a discussion about, am I that? Mary Elizabeth Parsons? And the answer is not at all. Am I related? No. But this, in 1972, I went to a bookstore in Sebastopol, and here was this book, this Dover reprint. And I just was taken by the name. It's my name, and I thought, well, I better buy it. But I actually didn't have any interest in the subject. Well, as you know, the rest is history. Here is the original. I have a couple of these. I had quite a nice selection of the original book by Mary Elizabeth Parsons with beautiful illustrations by, what's her name, Buck, Mrs. Buck. And two of them burned. My house didn't burn, but my shed and all my greenhouse and all of that burned in the Cubs fire, the 2017 fire. But, you know, luckily people gave me two more. This from May Miller, who was our secretary for many years, gave me this. This is beautiful. And I just want to refer to our meeting last time. I'm always so pleased that we in Sonoma County have our own flora. And our meeting last time was about updating the flora with Peter Warner and John Mack. And it will be probably a checklist. But that's good if you want to know, does this particular plant grow in Sonoma County? We have a flora, and that is so nice. So Lynette brought in some very nice plants from our garden or our nursery. And I want to say that if you did want to purchase them, they are for sale. But I wanted to just show them off. Here's two manzanitas. One is called Humboldt Mystery. So, but she promises it's going to be tall. So what would we sell this fine plant for? $5? Well, anyway, and our good friend Howard McMinn. This is a densiflora. It is called Sonoma Manzanita because it was the original. The densiflora was from, over near Sebastopol. And Howard McMinn is one of the most successful of all the manzanitas that I have seen planted. And the other day I went on a tour of the osmosis enzyme place in Freestone. They had Howard McMinn all sheared up into a little ball, as you'd see often in Japanese gardens where everything is just all sort of what I call poodled up. But they had Howard McMinn in a very nice. So Howard is very engaging and very, you can just do about anything. But it's a survivor more than anything. And then there's three ceanothus that are Thursifloras, diamond something. Thursifloras, Yankee Point, which is you can see Yankee Point's on its way to being pretty decumbent, it's going to cover the territory. It's probably, I'd be 5 by 2. Thursifloras, and people love this because it looks really good. It's called Diamond Heights, Ceanothus Diamond Heights, because of the variegation. It always looks good. So I do have a bit of a slideshow, and we have been, I know what I wanted to say too. Also, in my 50 years, there've just been a lot of changes in why people are growing native plants. You know, it started out in the 70s when there was a drought, and it was all about xeriscaping and planting things that weren't going to use a lot of water, called the xeriscape. And now, well, and then there's fire now. People are all worried about fire, but that's more about subtracting plants almost. I wrote an article for our newsletter that said something about, what they call foundation plants. And I got several cross things. We don't plant foundation plants anymore because they bring the fire close to the house. So you have to remove them. But be that as it may, fire is a concern of ours. But mainly now people are thinking of habitat. And we know Douglas Ptolemy from the East Coast has written several books. He's an entomologist, so his emphasis is planting plants that will attract insects, but also birds, bees. And as we said, I had a garden for 30 years in Kenwood on Turtle Creek Drive, and then I moved in 22 to Oakmont, and I have a smaller garden, but I have to say that in those 4 years I've planted it, and it's a very successful habitat garden. I had a pair of quail nest in my garden this year, and I'm just so tickled. That male is so beautiful. I mean, both of them are beautiful, but I do put out bird seed. So, and I have little oak titmouse will come, they love that, and the hummingbirds, and what else? Oh, the towhees and the rufous-sided towhees. I mean, it's just such fun. And I'm on a creek, not a seasonal creek, but there's just a wall of bay and a few oaks, no SOD. I went out and checked. So anyway, so I'm really pleased with the fact that I have planted a lot of natives and how well they've done, and they're doing their job as habitat, attracting bees, butterflies, and birds. Oh, I even have a quote. If much of our wildlife is to survive, food, shelter, and nest sites must be found in our suburban habitats, or in our habitats, to really, with an eye for what is going to attract the birds, make them happy, and give them shelter and food. So, natives in the garden. Cornus natalii, which I have seen on the flanks of St. Helena on like Ida Clayton Road, natively. If you wanted to grow one, there's one called Eddie's White Wonder, which is, somewhat of an improvement on just natalii, which isn't as easy to grow as, but Eddie's White Wonder is the one that they sell in nurseries that would be the one that would adapt better to garden conditions. Oh, and this is what just finished blooming in my garden, the Clarkia unguiculata, which is farewell to spring. And so, as we know here, we're in middle of June, and it's also called darling of summer, something like that. So in other words, we know what season we're in when the Clarkia blooms, and now when it's almost gone. Now, unguiculata, this color is almost like you would find out in the wild. But they have taken unguiculata and made it into, fancy, something fancier, which I didn't get. But this is the other. Clarkia has two forms. And this is the bowl form with the 4 petals in a little bowl with that wonderful rosy blotch. And here is what I call the clawed form. Well, that's not me, but Jepson too. The clawed form, and I don't know why, but it's, sort of an unusual petals, a little advanced, and the hybridizers have taken it and really fancied it up with double petals and sometimes even triple petals, so that you can, in the garden, and in any mix that you get would include a fanciful form in deeper colors. And this is gracilis. We have gracilus variety sonomensis on our hillsides here. Oh, and it's a beauty, right? Where can you see? Oh, on the road to Jack London Park is a beautiful stand of Clarkia gracillus. Dudleya farinosa, this is from our coast. They call it bluff lettuce because that's where it grows, on the bluffs on our coast. And it does flower. It's flowering right now, but it's called farinosa because in this picture it doesn't show, but oftentimes it has a gray kind of farina on the not the petals, the leaves. Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. This is the one that got so popular in Asia that, yeah, people were coming over and just filling boxes full of it and sending it back home. And for some reason, I don't, why would that, that particular Dudleya, because, but anyway, yes, this is the one that they were just shipping out wholesale numbers from up like Gualala. They'd show up at the post office with a big box full. And it finally, Fish and Game caught on to what was going on, and they started issuing tickets and fining people for it. So I don't know if that died down because it's relatively easy to grow from seeds. So hopefully the people started to propagate it themselves there in Asia. Oh, I see. That's right. They would intercept boxes full of them, and I don't know who, but somebody in CNPS was trying to take them and reestablish them, after they had been plucked from the bluff, to reestablish them as, maybe not necessarily. I don't know exactly if they were trying to put them. I think they were trying to put them back on the ocean bluffs. Not an easy matter, I'm sure, and very time consuming. So this is, we were talking about Howard McMinn, Arctostaphylos densiflora. This is Sentinel, which is a little larger than Howard McMinn. And then there's a Arctostaphylos densiflora James West, which is a little smaller, maybe 2 to 3 feet. But Sentinel is the larger one. And this is a plant with the this is what they look like right now, the nascent inflorescence, which the manzanita of their life is. They bloom, and then while it's still wet, while there's still rain, then they set their next year's blossoms, and it's called a nascent inflorescence. And you can see on the Howard McMinn, the new little next year's flowers beginning to form. And here is in January, full flower. And, oh, well, now you can see why it's called densiflora, because it is such a wonderful plant because it is so dense in its flowers. Just really shows off. And this is one that I planted in 1988. This is on Turtle Creek Drive in Kenwood. I did some landscaping for my neighbor. 1988. Now this picture was taken in probably about 2008. And it's still there. It's still looking good. The two of them together. There's a little bit of dead wood that we take off, but it is just a long-lived plant. It's a wonderful selection. Mm-hmm. And here is also in Kenwood, a Sentinel in the landscape, but with the Muhlenbergia, the grass, and Cornus sericea. And here's the red twig dogwood. That's a beautiful, this is the summer look, winter look. In the summer it's all leafy and you don't really see it so much as that red twigs. Now here's more red twig, and in the background is the Muhlenbergia, called deer grass, also called basket grass, because it's not a native to Sonoma County, but it's such a successful landscape plant that you just gotta love it. And it's called basket grass because the Indians in the area where it grew natively would use it as the center of a coil work basket. And when it blooms, I think I've got a picture of the bloom. See, when it blooms, it sends up these close-up winter stalks. So you always know when you're seeing Muhlenbergia rigens because there it is. Oh, and in the background, you see a bridge that burned. All my bridges were burned. And I just thought about that. And yeah, the fire came really close to my house, but it didn't burn it, but it burned, an awful lot. I lost my Downingia. I lost a tuberosa. I mean, some really special plants, but life can be like that. So now, the silk tassel was interesting. It burned too, but it came back. Silk tassel, silk tassel is, if you buy a selection, there are 2 selections, James Roof and Evie. And it's a selected male. The male and the female are on different plants. So this is the male because it has those long, beautiful male catkins. And they elongate as the season goes on. This is Garrya elliptica, Evie. And as the season goes on, they just get longer, longer, longer until they're so beautiful. They just sway in the wind. It's a lovely plant. And as I say, it burned to the ground, but it came back from the roots, which is kind of interesting, vigorously. And here's a close-up of those male flowers with the little stamens. Note the stamens. That's what creates the tassels. And of course, Toyon, or Christmas berry. Toyon is a member of the rose family, and it should be blooming, anytime soon. Right now, with a beautiful white cluster of white flowers that turn into these beautiful red berries at Christmas time, just about Christmas. And obviously the birds like it very much. And I have 3 that were planted by the birds in my new garden, which is really fun. Which is better because there's also a pyracantha in the neighborhood, and they devour that in an afternoon. The robins come and devour the pyracantha. And that I wouldn't want in my garden. But Toyon, yes, I'll take it. Now, there is a Toyon with yellow called Davis Gold. Now, the nice thing about the Davis Gold, in my estimation, is that it doesn't get leaf spot. Davis Gold is beautiful, but you get yellow berries instead of red. So there's a trade-off.
But not the leaf. It doesn't.
No leaf spot. So it's a really, how roses, it's a rose family. Roses get leaf spot too. So it's like that. And it can get quite big. Now, these pictures were taken on the Prince Greenway, where the Santa Rosa Creek was kind of channeled, and they brought it back. And on both sides, they planted a lot of very nice native plants. And here's snowberry, the winter effect with the little berries, snowberries. There they are, Symphora carpos. And since it was, at the Prince Greenway, I don't know what species it was, but that's a very pretty winter effect. Rhamnus californica. Now see, it's old. Rhamnus has been changed to frangula. That one of those awful things that they've done. But it has a variety of name varieties. This is Eve Case, which has very large, beautiful berries, and gets to be 6 to 8 feet. It's a large shrub. And then there's the Mount San Bruno, which is a little smaller. And I have one called Leatherleaf that Roger Raish introduced. And so I think we'll just see. It's slow, I'll tell you that. But I think it's going to get maybe to 5 feet. But ultimately, not now. Now, here's another thing, Mimulus aurantiacus. This is the one that we're seeing all over our hills right now. The golden Mimulus that is so beautiful. And I think it's still Mimulus, but I'm not sure. Because in my estimation, it used to be Diplicus because it's woody. And then they change it to Mimulus. And then they change it back to Diplicus. And now they may have changed the whole thing to Erythranthe, but don't tell me. So I'm really hesitant to even write about it because I'm so insecure about what the world is the name, but it's a very popular, beautiful thing that has a lot of different colors. And look at it, there's a very pretty deep yellow, and there's one in one of these arrangements called Changeling, which is a very pretty one. There's Bifidus, which is called anyway, some white forms, or creamsicle, creamy forms. There's just a lot of beautiful color forms of sticky monkey flower. And it's sticky because the leaves have a kind of a sticky feel. Now here is a beautiful springtime look. Ribes sanguineum glutinosum. It's a shrub. This is in the garden. And here's a close-up. Beautiful, beautiful pink flowers, which are followed by, and it's a shrub which is, it loses its leaves. It's sort of deciduous, and these flowers are followed by blue berries. Salvia clevelandii, and there are several name varieties: Pozo blue, Whirly blue, but Allen Chickering is the most popular. And isn't that, I mean, you can see from this is about 6 feet, just looking at the fence behind, about 6 feet. I mean, it can be pretty assertive. And here's a close-up. The flowers are performed in whorls up a stalk. And this is, I'm sure some of these that maybe, I don't know why, but the color's kind of washed out. Most of them are a deeper blue, and some of them are, we're not going to say purple, lavender, more lavender. But these shrubby sages are woody, and they will, fill in a nice space. I see the hummingbird kind of likes that, and the bees go for it too. And it's just a really good one. And the ribes, there's another one. This is a different form, Ribes speciosum. It is, it's capable of going completely dormant, completely brown and out in the summertime. And then it comes back, a whole flush of leaves, and you get these beautiful red flowers that the hummingbirds come up under. It's a perfect hummingbird flower. But look, it's also a very barrier plant, because look at those thorns. It's very thorny, but a beautiful plant. And then there's another ribes, the large yellow flowered currant. That's really spectacular too. Now, here's one of our favorites. It's called Epilobium canum. This was, I will always call it Zauschneria, just because that's how I am. But it's beautiful. And just as an aside, there's a Zauschneria named after me, Liz's Choice, available at Cal Flora. Because Josh noticed that it was just a little different. It was a plant that I would dig up in my garden because we thought it was a little different, and we would sell it at the plant sale. And I started calling it Liz's Choice. And so then Josh noticed that it was indeed a little different. And so he said, oh, okay, let's just give it the name Liz's Choice. I don't think this is it, but it might be. Because this is my old Kenwood garden. Very drought tolerant. This is August, September, October, and into November. It's the wonderful plant for the end of the season when everything is so hot and dry. The Zauschneria comes on like gangbusters. And here is on the UC hybrid is the gray tone plant. And in the back is one called Arizonica. It's not a native to California. It is Arizonica, but it really blooms a lot, and it's a very nice plant. I think I lost that when I moved. There's Harry Lauder's walking stick, which is the contorted corylus in the back there. This is my old garden. UC hybrid, there it is again. Obviously, I like that. Oh, more. Beautiful. And now, we're back to the spring now. The Iris Douglassiana. This is the coastal plant, Douglas iris. There are 17 or so different species of iris, and there are 4 in Sonoma County. And Douglassiana is the one that's on the coast. And they have taken them and made a lot of beautiful hybrids. So we call those PCH, Pacific Coast hybrids. And this is an example. One of the most popular is Canyon Snow with that little yellow dot. And it's popular because it's easy and it does well. And of course, I had to buy one, so I bought that was available at Cal Flora, so I got to have one of those in the garden. And Fremontodendron, there are, this is the smaller form, which is called Ken Taylor, 4 to 6. And then here we are back at the Prince Greenway with one of the large Fremontodendrons. I don't know what hybrid, but there's a Pacific Sunset. There's several hybrid, but that's just spectacular when it blooms. And there's a close-up Pacific Sunset. Now this is a landscape right on, 4th Street in Santa Rosa. And you can see there's the Miraca, or the things that have been kind of sheared. And then there's a coast live oak and a ceanothus in the background. So this, and on the ground cover are Arctostaphylos manzanitas. So this is a very nice all native landscape. And obviously it was professionally done because it's complementing these apartments or houses in the back. But I thought that was a very, very attractive way of putting them all together. And here again on Route 12, when I drive in from Kenwood, is a beautiful ceanothus or wild lilac in full bloom. So this would have been probably March. It could be Howard McMahon, not Howard, sorry. It could be Julia Phelps or Dark Star, because they're the ones with the deep cobalt flowers, cobalt blue, that is so spectacular. They're close up. Oh yes, Julia Phelps or Dark Star. And you can see it has those small little leaves and huge flowers. It's very beautiful. Oh, there she is. That was my dream, to go to Rancho Santa Ana. And that beautiful, I guess it's a Mahonia in background, called Golden Abundance. It was just so beautiful and big. You can see large. So that was really nice. So thank you so much. Anybody have any questions? Besides watering, watching.
How long lived are your mimulus, and do you deadhead them?
Yeah. How long lived are the mimulus?
Yes.
And do I what?
Deadhead them, or like.
Oh, deadhead them. Well, right now, my mimulus are looking a little ratty because they have bloomed. And so the flowers are there. So I'm just thinking of cutting it back by about, I can't decide, maybe by half, maybe by 2/3. I can't decide. So we'll see. Half or 2/3. And that would be the changeling, the one that's called changeling. So when I'm tossing water on it too, I want it to survive. And so it started to bloom again too, and so now it's blooming here, and here's all those dead flowers. And so now I'm in a quandary because I like the new blooms, but I also want to cut it back. So I don't know. Yeah, Janet, she was asking about the Monardella viosa, which is a beautiful little mint that'll grow to about, maybe 2 feet and have puffy little lavender flowers on the end, and it's blooming right now, looking very nice. And the form that we usually see in the trade is called Russian River. Selection probably by Sherry Althouse, who is in the audience tonight. So any other questions? So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.